Breaking tonight, two big items on Donald Trump, Jeb Bush, and the GOP field as Trump gets very personal in a new attack on Jeb Bush, and Fox confirms the Republican National Committee is now asking for a loyalty pledge that appears aimed directly at Donald Trump. Welcome to the Kelly File, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly. Fox confirmed these reports just a few hours ago. Several campaigns telling us the Republican National Committee has fashioned a pledge for candidates to sign, vowing that they will not consider a third-party run if they do not get the GOP nomination. It appears aimed directly at Trump, who refused to agree to that condition when pressed on the issue during the Fox News debate. It also comes as Trump continues a brutal back and forth with Jeb Bush, which late today got personal when Trump took a shot at Bush for speaking Spanish on the campaign trail. We have Brit Hume, Chris Stirewalt, and Howie Kurtz all with us on 2016 tonight, but we begin with our chief Washington correspondent, James Rosen, with the very latest in the battle between Trump and Bush. James?
Megyn, good evening. If Jeb Bush wanted to separate himself from the GOP pack and engage in single warrior combat with frontrunner Donald Trump, it would appear the former Florida governor is getting his wish. Already this week, the two Republican presidential candidates traded attack videos, with Bush queuing up old sound bites of Trump declaring himself very pro-choice and taking other liberal positions, and Trump assailing Bush for likening illegal immigration to an act of love, saying it's time to get tough. Then, speaking to reporters in Miami yesterday, Bush repeated his theme that Trump is not a conservative in fluent Spanish.
Hoy solamente es de poner en sus propias palabras el hecho de que este hombre no es conservador. Apoya a personas como Nancy Pelosi. Ha dado dinero a Hillary Clinton.
This afternoon, in a telephone interview with Breitbart News, the billionaire real estate developer fired back at Governor Bush once more with remarks that are sure to generate more controversy and debate as to how much support Trump, who has bluntly criticized the Mexican government, can expect to receive amongst Latinos, a group that made up 10% of the electorate in 2012. I like Jeb. He's a nice man, Trump said, but he should really set the example by speaking English while in the United States. Trump also sought to defuse the attacks on him as a flip-flopper by likening himself to President Ronald Reagan, perhaps history's most notable convert from the Democratic Party to the GOP, and there too Trump found Jeb Bush lacking. Quote, "By the time I'm finished with the presidency, after 8 years of the presidency," Trump said, "people will say I'm a great conservative, far greater than Jeb would ever have the ability to be," unquote. Now, late this afternoon, Bush campaign manager Danny Diaz tweeted that Trump is on a, quote, one-man mission to kill the GOP, and he linked to a Daily Mail story reporting that the Trump National Doral Hotel in Miami actively recruits bilingual employees with job postings that say, quote, knowledge of other languages, especially Spanish, is a plus. We're told further Governor Bush himself will respond to this tomorrow morning, presumably, Megyn, con mucho gusto.
Feliz cumpleaños, James. It's great to see you.
Gracias.
Just 40 yet again.
Each year.
See you soon. Thank you. Joining me now with more, Chris Stirewalt, our Fox News digital politics editor, and Howard Kurtz, host of Fox News' Media Buzz. Good to see you both. So let's start with the RNC loyalty pledge. Chris, you were on the debate team with yours truly. How is what the RNC is now doing different from, will advance the ball more than this moment at the GOP debate Fox News hosted on August 6th?
Is there anyone on stage, and can I see hands, who is unwilling tonight to pledge your support to the eventual nominee of the Republican Party and pledge to not run an independent campaign against that person? Mr. Trump.
Chris?
It's as crazy. It looks crazier now than it did before. That was a fun night. But very. But so here's the difference. Trump's answer goes on into talking about, like, maybe I will if you're nice to me. If you're not nice to me, maybe I won't. Maybe I will go out and run a third-party campaign. We'll just see whether essentially you guys deserve it or not. He's speaking to his party. The difference here is if you're presented with a piece of paper and it's from the party itself, and all the other candidates sign it and say, yep, we're not gonna play spoiler at the end. We promise we'll abide. We don't want Hillary Clinton to win the presidency, so we're gonna suck it up and do it. If Trump says no, this starts the question of, do they eventually bring sanctions against him? Do they try to do things that will take him off debate stages? Do they do things with delegate counts and all that stuff? And it could really be the beginning of a pretty significant schism in the Republican Party. And so Hillary Clinton is doing a happy dance, but we'll see where they take it.
What kind of sanctions could they bring against him if he doesn't sign their pledge?
Well, the sanctions are on the front end. There's nothing you can do to make him honor it at the end. If he signs it and doesn't abide by it, there's nothing you can do because that's too late. The horse has already left the barn. But what you can do at the beginning is, and this is why it would be so ugly if he opted to say no. If he says no, they could say, well, then debates that are sanctioned would be unsanctioned if they invite you. You're not going to be invited to these debates. You get into fights with broadcasters.
That's not going to happen.
Oh, it gets ugly quick.
That is not going to happen. So the question is, why are they doing this? And, you know, just the other question is whether he's likely to sign it, Howie, because what we're seeing right now is a man who is the front runner in every poll. Every poll he is the front runner in. And so he's talking about whether the party's going to treat him fairly. The party is anointing him at the moment. So what downside is there to him in signing it? And you know, right now he seems more focused on fueling the fire with his rivals than he does on dealing with Reince Priebus and the RNC.
This carries a whiff of desperation by a GOP establishment whose candidates are getting routed by the rookies led by Trump. I mean, Trump has already been making noises about he'll probably sign the pledge for an upcoming deadline in the South Carolina primary. He said the RNC is treating him fairly, which is his code for I'm not going to take my marbles and go away. But he does not like being backed into a corner. And again, you know, if he signs it, you know, he may not sign it, and he may play chicken. He may dare the GOP to come after him, even though I think he probably is not leaning toward running third party at this point.
Let's talk about the remarks about speak English directed at Jeb Bush. And you know, they just came out with a poll from ABC News that shows his approval rating with Hispanics. And he has a 15% approval rating with them. His popularity is 15%. He's got 82% who don't like him. Paul Begala over on CNN just said, I think he's going for an even 100 with these comments. he's going for it. Smart move? You tell me, Chris.
Well, look, Trump is trying some outreach now to Hispanics. He has had a meeting now with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. He and Geraldo Rivera are apparently working on some sort of a Mexican lunch summit. He is trying some things to make himself more palatable. But the problem with somebody who is as famous as Donald Trump, undoing that, getting that to change is going to be very difficult because the press narrative that has been relentless from day one since his opening speech, since his initial remarks, has been that he is xenophobic, has been that he is racist, that he is all of these things. So turning that bus around would take a lot of effort. And as you spend time trying to undo the negative, you are stranding your supporters who want you to be taking the fight to Jeb Bush.
What about Jeb Bush? Because we've seen him starting to mix it up with Donald Trump in the past couple of days, Howie, like we haven't seen before.
Yeah, I don't think he has much choice at this point, but I've got to tell you, watching this, the punching back and forth, it looks like Jeb Bush is playing tiddlywinks, and Trump is like a pro wrestler trying to slam him to the canvas. So he taunts him with things like, well, why don't you speak English? Journalists all say, wow, that's really over the top. That could hurt him with the Hispanic community. But Trump's followers love him even more for sort of sticking the finger in the eye. And I think that if you turn the sound down on this back and forth, and the media, by the way, not really policing the substance of it, the two ads, they're just enjoying the food fight. When you turn the sound down, you see Jeb, who said he wanted to run a joyful campaign, does not look like he's enjoying himself, and Trump is having the time of his life.
Joyful. Who's ever run a joyful presidential campaign? What on earth is joyful about that process? Anyway, great to see you both.
Bye.
While Trump and Bush battle it out, Dr. Ben Carson is getting good news from the latest round of polls. So guess who's now taking some incoming of his own? Brit Hume is back with us, and he is next on the road ahead for Dr. Carson. Plus, new fallout tonight from the big news out of Baltimore on the 6 officers charged in the death of Freddie Gray. We'll show you what the defense is celebrating tonight. And then you will get to meet the Marine vet now taking on the Black Lives Matter movement and hear him tell us what has happened to him since he posted this message right here.
Black Lives Matter movement only promotes racism, and now they're encouraging black people to go kill white people because they want white people to feel what we felt 400 years ago. Newsflash, was you living 400 years ago? No.